Guys, everyone. Welcome to MYGA. If this is your first time, then strap in. No. Sunday morning, so we take it nice and easy on a Sunday morning. We're just gonna work ourselves into the lovely presence of everyone, the collective loveliness of our little group that we're building, our humble little space. Last week, which was a very, very wonderful topic to cover, was loneliness and how, that loneliness, that vibe of that part of ourselves that makes us feel like we're not whole, we need the other to be somehow complete, which again feels to me as a falsity, as a sidestep away from accessing the true self. How loneliness is like many of our appeared shortcomings in life. For me, it always feels like another opportunity, an invitation to go deeper into our true selves, into that true part of ourselves, not the superficial identities, beyond the not self, into the perpetual, the uninterrupted part of ourselves, which is always there. Right where we left it, funnily enough. It's like that loyal old friend who we can always count on, no matter what's gone on. That part in us is the truth of who we really are. That infinite, that eternal. That part I'm talking about is the opposite to loneliness. Because once we access that part of ourselves, which is what we really are, right? Like everything else seems to be getting in the way and is kind of like it's just a veil that stands in front of that, which limits us from accessing the truth of us, of ourselves. Because once we access that part, then we are one with Source, right? We are able to walk with God, whatever God means to you. And then loneliness, like many of the stories of the mind, what happens is it dissolves into the presence of our truth. And from that place, we are then completely and utterly, absolutely, wholly connected to it all. And then the mere suggestion of loneliness becomes almost absurd. And right, I get it, right? Like people do feel that loneliness, yeah, but we also feel fear. Right? We could say like yeah, loneliness, but loneliness to me is really fucking real, Danny. It really feels real. And I'm like, yeah, but so does our fear. Our fear feels really real. But most of the time, our fear is a false expectation appearing real, which we could lend over to loneliness. Because it's not possible to be lonely when we've accessed our true part. And of course, all the other parts that are pretending to be us in the circus, on the stage, in the theatre, they're just getting in the way of us accessing who we really are. And once we do that, for me, the feeling or the story or the narrative of loneliness, it falls away. And of course, like our entire shadow mind and its shadow puppeteers have created this synthetic world, which is full of distraction. It's full of sedation. There's an overstimulation through superficiality. There's the dopamine fixes of these fucking devices that have all made us become junkies in the palm of our hands, itching and scratching and beholden to the fix, as though we're chronically online And I'm not going to go too deep into that because that is a subject on its own, and we're going to cover that very soon because that's got a lot of importance and a lot of information and substance to it as well. So we'll go into that deeper another day. But it's all part of that whole shadow world setup, you know, the matrix, the machine, the man, whatever you want to call it. Every inch of it is designed to keep us from accessing the true part of ourselves. And that is testament, really, to how powerful and how incredible we are when we're in our true self, when we've accessed that part. Because if you consider how powerful that part is and why there has been trillions, yeah, literally trillions spent, there is shadow puppeteers have got think tanks coming out of their fucking ears of people with absolutely no hearts and all mind who are plotting, scheming, who are planning our apathy, engineering our indifference. And all of it is designed to keep us from accessing that part because they realise how powerful that part is. That truth of us, once we're into that, we're they just can't deal with us then. We become, that subservience is washed away. We're ungovernable, you know. But it's once we're able to connect with that truth, because once we're still in the mind and the stories and the narratives and the false identities of the shadow self, we're easily maneuvered, easily manipulated with stories, with images. And then we're not guiding this vessel. We're not navigating it then. Something external to us is, you know. But once we are able to connect with our truth, then the meaninglessness is burned up by meaning. The perceived emptiness becomes wholesome. And the side-splittingly hilarious part for me is that it is so easily accessible. 24/7, 365 days a year, always here, forever there, consistent, certain, definite, and absolute. And that part, you know, is so accessible because it's what we are, right? It's our factory setting. We've all got it. And we've all got different programs running to keep us from that. Like, the programs are all really the same when you get to the fundamentals of them, but the nuance and the way our stories are delivered to us, the programs create the stories which are unique to us. We've all got our unique stories that we're holding on to, that we identify with. And yet, above all of that noise, above all of it, deeper than it, we've got this part of ourselves which is complete. And it is so readily available to us constantly. And I know it sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? I know, but that's part of the psyop. That's another part of the psyop. It's keeping you from you. That connection, that bond is our birthright. It's our fucking blueprint. You know, and for me, I refuse to let a bunch of hybrid nonces keep me away from my true self. To keep me small, to make me feel insignificant and unsure, to be oppressed by the shadows. Hell fucking no. For me, it's high time we all started to get to know that part of ourselves. And when we do, that's when we become collectively truly ungovernable. Unfuckable with is the way I'd like to describe it. We shine out like a giant fucking lighthouse that is beaming. Do not fuck with me. All right? Do not take the piss with me. All right? And that might seem, to people listening to this, it might seem that's aggressive, but it's not, is it? It's, if we've spent our entire existence, yeah, most of our lives being conditioned and indoctrinated to to have someone outside of ourselves make decisions for us in every single facet of our fucking societies, then now to arrive at that place is say, do not fuck with me. All right. I'm not going to do any harm. I'm being me. I'm a good man, but do not fuck with me. And if everyone felt that, then I promise you this entire shit show is over like that. But the problem is that most people, the masses, let's say, not this little group, because we're all unfuckable with, aren't we? Eh? That's what we're building here. A bunch of unfuckable withs. I should market that. Unfuckable with. The masses second guess themselves. They don't know who they are. You know, they need the news to tell them what's going on in the world. They need a therapist and a psychiatrist to tell them if they're okay and what their problems are. They need more books, more information, more stimuli to make sense of the unsensible, to define the indefinable. That's what's going on in the masses, you know, like TV to distract them from not knowing. And we all succumb to it. Don't get me wrong, we all succumb to it. But I believe what we are doing differently to the masses is that we have now switched that light on. We have accessed that part of ourselves and we go, oh, that's fucking nice. Oh, I like that. I want more of that. How do I get more of that? And here in our little humble MYGA home, this is our mission, right? This is our mission. And if you choose to accept that, it's up to you, you know. That's up to you if you choose to accept this mission. For me, I feel like I'm simply the cosmic captain of the message. What you do with the message is completely and utterly up to you. Yeah. But the validity, the authenticity, the righteousness and the value of the man delivering this message can't be questioned. It's not up for debate. And this message that comes through me can only be heard by the true self part of you. That's what hears it. That's what feels it. That's what is ignited to embody it, to allow it to fuel you. Yeah. And then you realize that I'm the eloquent mouthpiece, but it's all your words anyway, isn't it? It's all the same. You know, we're just mirrors bouncing off of each other. I'm just able to put it into some kind of tangible communication that people can understand, read and use. And then we end up in the same place all the time, is that our continued collective mission here on this beautiful earth is to take our world back from the fucking shadows. And by God, we're doing it. Day in, day out. And maybe that's not tangible sometimes. Maybe you don't feel it or you don't see it happening because you're walking around and there's zombies everywhere and you're like, oh my God. But it is happening. It's happening more than we know. And I truly believe that at some point we're going to hit a tipping point and it's just going to go boom. And we're going to go, whoa. And so there is an element of responsibility on people like us who are the trailblazers, the pioneers, the visionaries of a world that we've always collectively dreamed of. Maybe we didn't know it. Maybe it was subconscious. But now it's coming out of the subconscious into the conscious, into our everyday lives. And our little MYGA space here is testament to that. For make no mistake, right, as long as we've got breath in our lungs, as long as our hearts continue to beat that divine drum, we are coming, all of us, you know. And each and every day, more and more people are connecting with that true part of themselves. And the few become many. And right now, we've got that feeling that's becoming more and more tangible to us all the time. Yeah, that if we connect with that true part of ourselves, the rest falls into place. So we can take all of these subjects, every single subject we've got, and we've got some fucking wonderful subjects we can use as tools, as vehicles, as mechanism to get us to where we need to get to. But do not be mistaken. It is always the same fucking message. What we are is saturated, suppressed, and oppressed by shadow technology. Yeah. That is in everything. It's in every single part of our lives. It's planted into our education system, which is controls and indoctrinates our mind from an early age. It's in all of our media. It's in our fucking food. It's in our water. You know, it's probably some kind of sophisticated technology that's beaming down on us all the time. And now we got these fucking things just to really, really amplify the noise. But again, every single one of those things that they're doing to be able to make us more submissive, more governable, more reliant on them and their medicines, all of it is because they're dying. It's dying, so it's clutching and grabbing. Oh my God, it always makes me feel it's like the boxer in the last round who knows that he's going to get his fucking head knocked off any second. He's going to be out for the count, and so he's just swinging those last big haymakers, and that's what is happening in our society as an analogy, right? You can see it, like the big haymakers are coming in of like, oh, we need to take over the world, digital ID, central banking, digital currencies. And what we're doing is just going, whoa, roll under that one, bang. And I know that's like it's a boxing analogy, right? Because, you know, that's what I know best. But it's the truth. We're watching this dying source, this other source, is just about to get knocked out, and it's trying its best, giving everything it's got to hang on for dear life. And so we have got all these subject matters planned, yeah? And I would love eventually, once we've gone through the big list that I've already written down, is that to be able to ask what people want to talk about here as well, you know? But I'm absolutely certain that all of these subjects, they're wonderful subjects to discuss, and we can use them as intricate keys to unlock different parts of the conversation. But the conversation always comes back to the same fucking thing every time. We are doing our best to uncover what we really are. And another express delivery to get us wholly navigating this vessel is boundaries, which is our subject for today. Now, it's a rich subject, but it's also a subject that comes with sometimes some critique, because people are unsure. Boundaries, you know, I want to be part of the all. I want to be part of the whole, and you know, I don't know if I want to divide. And for me, I don't feel that's what boundaries are. You know, I feel like boundaries are affecting every inch of our lives, whether we are aware of it or not. You know, imagine if we're like a storm of stardust, right? This vibrating, dancing mass of cosmic alchemy, yeah? A hypersensitive, sophisticated piece of kit. And this advanced piece of hardware that we understand like so little of, like almost nothing of, is continuously learning, expanding, fluid form, constantly signaling, informing, alerting. It's just doing everything, and it's doing everything automatically. This being that we've got, like whether we want to call it a vehicle or a vessel or a form or whatever, this being is literally, it's magic. Yeah, it's alchemy in action. We're this effortless orb of love light. Yeah, this universal voice from a celestial choir experiencing in itself as our personality in this physical realm. Yeah, and all of that stuff is going on, bang, in an instant, all the time, in an instant, in a spontaneous explosion, bang. It's just there all the time. It's happening, and we don't even give it any second thought. It's like, what? And by that, because of all this stuff is going on, we're this flow, this vibrating flow, which is constantly taking in information. It's like a sensory stimuli bubble, which is just constantly expanding all the time, falling, waving. It's just this massive information center of all this data constantly. And we're always being poked, whether we know it or not. We're being poked by external stimuli, which is enticing us, which is inviting us, which is sometimes confronting us, sometimes antagonizing us. And it's all happening in this field that we can't even fucking see. Because if someone comes up and flicks you on the nose, your boundaries have been crossed and everyone fucking knows it. But there is so much flicking on the nose that is happening in the unseen world. Yeah. And so all of this stuff, this wonderful piece of machinery that we've got is made up of the physical, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual. And it is deciphering data through all of those aspects at warp speed. Yeah, at a speed that we can't even get our heads around because the head's in the way. And sometimes, especially for many of us empaths, it can be incredibly overwhelming. It can be almost debilitating to have so much of this information, to so much of like, whoa, this is just too much, especially if we are living in very high speed places, or we're in close proximity to relationships that maybe are dysfunctional. And then we have got no strict or firm boundaries about where we end and someone else begins. And so it's all overlapping, which becomes even more difficult. And so then all of a sudden we can have like we're searching for sedation, for that fucking glass of Rioja or that spliff that's going to calm us down. Or sometimes it's so much we're sniffing lithium off the kitchen counter, or booking in a lobotomy on Monday morning just to take the fucking edge off. I'm being dramatic for a change. Our being is miraculous. Yeah, it is absolutely miraculous. And it operates at its best when we are certain about it. Yeah, when we are certain about where we start and where we end. Yeah. And we could talk about the nuance of boundaries forever. Yeah, the small distinctions of each different situation, the shades of each story we've identified with. But is that necessary? Is that going sideways again, doing us an injustice as to what we're doing here? See, for me, our boundaries, in truth, like many parts of our vessel, of this sophisticated piece of hardware, many parts of it are automatic. And when running correctly and when operating fully, it doesn't do mistakes. You know, it's not this setup. And when I say like mistakes, yeah, like I'm talking about like when we are feeling some kind of stimuli that is our boundary has been overstepped. Yeah. Now, most of us, a lot of the time in our lives, that's happening daily, and we get these triggers, and perhaps in the past, especially, we weren't aware of those triggers. Maybe we blushed, you know. Maybe someone said something that was critical to us, or it made us feel a bit of shame or a bit of ridicule, or we done that to ourselves. That internal dialogue done it to ourselves, and we've got all this stuff going on, and we're standing in the queue at fucking Sainsbury's, and there's a massive queue, and we've just dropped our fucking purse or our wallet all over the floor, and everything's gone everywhere, and everyone's tutting, and we're going bright red. All of that stuff, like all of these boundaries, whether they're self-imposed or whether they're imposed by the external, for me, truly, it all comes from the same place. So how do we get this machine? Shouldn't really call it a machine, should I? It sounds like fucking Terminator or something. What can we call it? That massive, beautiful bunch of atoms doing a divine dance. That's what it is. How do we get this to come fully online? For me, again, it is so fucking simple. It is too simple. Again, any guesses? Anyone? What it is, right? is our old friend self-love. That's what it is. Think about it. No, don't think about it. Feel about it. That's what we should say really from now on, shouldn't we? Feel about it. Don't think about it. Feel it. For if you take any situation, yeah, any situation in life, if we enter into that situation, whatever it is, and we are right, I again, listen, this is the thing for me. I don't know what level of access different people are in, yeah. So I speak from my own experience, right? My own experience is when I'm in that space, when I am wholly, completely, absolutely accessing the true part of myself, I know that the way that I act and interface with the external world is on another level. It's an enhanced way of performing in terms of the performance of this vehicle in everything, right? So if we take about like a situation in life where someone is going to put us down, whether that's someone who cares about us or it's a stranger, whatever, like if we're acting out of that space, if we're in that completeness of ourselves, then that just washes over us. We're not even bothered. And in fact, we come back with something so neutral, something so inquisitive and inquiring that that person is forced in the reflection of us to have to then use us as a mirror to be able to understand why did I say that in the first place? And that happens with everyone. It doesn't matter who they are. The reason a lot of the time we get into shit in situations that are uncomfortable in our lives, a lot of the time is because we are acting out of the shadow self. So then all of a sudden we're reactive. Sometimes we're aggressive. I mean, when I say the shadow self, we can also call that the ego, if you like, if it makes it a little bit more clearer where this conversation's concerned. Then the ego, we know that whenever we're acting out of our ego, no one wants to act out of their ego, you know? No one does. Because that part of ourselves is never conducive to compassion, to understanding, like not only ourselves and compassionate to ourselves, but the other in that situation. So whenever we do anything in lives, even like when it comes to eating, right? If we're sitting there and we're eating, how we're eating is going to really, really affect how we're nourishing ourselves and what that food's doing to ourselves, as an example. So if we're doing that from a space of the shadow self, as opposed to that self that's complete and wonderful and whole, then what happens is then we eat more than we need. We eat the wrong stuff. I say wrong, but you know, the stuff that's potentially not nourishing to us. It's the same with anything we do. Like every single aspect of our lives, we have this wonderful opportunity to set boundaries. And I'm not saying that like boundaries have to be so strict. That's it now. No, I said that and I'm going to fucking keep to it. Because then again, that's the ego, isn't it? Coming in through the back door. You know, the shadow self is crept in through the back door and he's going, no, I'm not really the shadow self. I'm pretending not to be the shadow self. I'm actually your true voice masquerading as the shadow self. And I mean, I know that's complex because we're going sort of like into different sort of like layers of like, oh my God, that voice, that's not true. That's not true. It's false, false. We just have to come back to them questions again, don't it? How is this nourishing me? Is this beneficial for me? Is this benefiting me right now? And if we use that again, if all this information is coming to us and we use that again, we could consistently go back to that, then the boundaries start to form themselves, don't they? We don't have to enter into it from a cognitive perspective or an understanding from the mental framework. It just becomes who we are. Because we're sort of like, no, like there's almost that automatic part of the mechanic in us. It starts to register that, do you know what? I'm putting myself first all the time. And what is that? That is fucking self-love. Self-love. So if you're sitting there, and I'm just going to give some very random examples, right? I don't know if any of these resonate or anyone's going through this stuff, but just random examples. If we're sitting there and all of a sudden someone's talking and we're thinking, fucking hell, mate, this is really, I don't want to hear this, you know? I really don't want to hear this. Like, I'm not going to mention them, but like there's people in my life who sometimes send me messages, which to me is like, it's like toxic vomit. Yeah, not directed at me because they know better than that, but it's toxic vomit about their own life and their own situation, right? That is not, it's not conducive to change. It's not sort of a practical, logistical support network for trying to make change in any material form. It really is just an open pitch of that internal dialogue shared to someone who they feel that they've got enough sentiment to be able to share it with. Yeah. But to me, straight away, it's like, yeah, listen, I understand people are struggling. Yeah, everyone's struggling, everyone's suffering. If we want to go into all of everyone's stories and everyone's shit and all of our burden and baggage and fuckery that we've been carrying around since we were little, everyone's got it. But for me, creating strong boundaries in my life is saying, no, listen, that ain't for me, mate. I don't want to hear that. You know, I don't want to hear that. Go and write that down in a fucking letter to yourself. Yeah. Go and own that shit. Go and use that information instead of throwing it up onto other people and then it's gone. Take it in. Use it. Use that information. There's lots of rich fucking information there for you to be able to make change. You know, life is not happening to us, is it? It's happening for us. And sometimes people, I feel like sometimes when I say the word boundaries, people go, whoa, you know, I don't want to, you know, like that sounds a bit harsh. It's not. It's just because we spent our entire fucking lives running around people pleasing. Love me, like me, make me popular, laugh at me, ha ha ha, give me attention. We've all done it. We're all still doing it. And it's conversations like this that are really fucking like, oh, honest to a fucking flaw that are uncomfortable, get us to start looking at that stuff and going, oh yeah, oh yeah, I'm still doing that. I'm still fucking dancing that dance. I'm still wrapped up in that story. How is it benefiting me? How is it nourishing me? If you consistently ask that all the time, I promise you, anyone who wants to try this, and this is going to be heavily involved in my first workshop, this is going to be released soon, but there's like lots and lots of it is about this subject, yeah, of boundaries and how we can implement those boundaries into our lives and how that makes us much more effective, how it makes us much more content, makes us much more enjoying life, yeah. Boundaries are a very, very important part of that. If you open up the toolbox, there you go. That's the spanner of boundaries that we need to be able to go, you know, I just want to tighten that bit up because that's not fucking working. I don't like that anymore. But unless we're going to be honest with ourselves and honest with not only who we are and setting boundaries with ourselves to a certain degree, and let's call them loving boundaries, right? We don't want to be doing it out of force. We don't want to be doing it out of aggression. If we're like, no, you're not doing that. Because again, that's the ego coming in again, isn't it? We want to try to allow it just to unfold. Yeah. And we do that by repetition. It's like anything we've learned in life, right? You have to continually hone it. You have to practice it to a certain degree in a very gentle way that you're not putting too much pressure on yourself, but you just practice it. How is this nourishing me? How is this fucking benefiting me? You know, I would like to say that out loud to people, you know, when they come into my fucking zone and they're just going, blah, 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 blah. I'm just going, listen, how do you think this is nourishing me, cunt? I can't do that anymore, apparently. I've been told off a few times. But there's some truth in that. And I'm not, listen, I know that my delivery is very unique for me, right? And I'm very happy about that. You know, I really love the way that I communicate. It's feels very true to me, right? It feels very authentic to me. I don't expect you to do the same, you know. You have to find what this going back to what we were talking about before, innit, is your voice. Yeah, because once we get into that place, once we access that voice, then the boundaries they just automatically come out. And then the fucking funny thing about it all is, right, the really fucking twisted thing about it all is that everyone else reacts to us in a much more beautiful way then, in a much more balanced way. All of our interaction, all of our communication, all of the people in our lives, everyone just goes, And it's like a domino effect. It ripples out and everyone just goes, ding, 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 and everyone finds their space. And it starts with us. Like if we're going to set that, we're going to stand in that, we're going to say, yeah, this is me. All right. I don't give a fuck if this makes me popular or you like me or you love me or whatever, because I love myself. I'm already whole. I'm already complete. I already know what is good for me and what's not good for me. And I'm going to make sure everyone else fucking knows it. And of course we can, like, I'm riled up when I get into these spaces and I want to really, really help and support and make people ignited and I want to get you going and stuff, yeah, motivate you and give you some momentum to work with, you know. But if I was to have a delicate conversation with a loved one and I was trying to explain to them, not always, but trying to explain to them, like, this is my boundaries, don't cross them, I do so in the most gentle and kind and considered way that I can, you know. Depending on the situation, of course, if I'm able to take a step back and breathe and then I can deliver it in the right way with a bit of tact, sometimes you can't. And that's okay too. Sometimes people need to be told to fuck off. Yeah? That's one of the other parts of the boundaries thing as well, right? Is that we're always worried about upsetting people. But why are we worried about upsetting people? Because we're worried about, do they love me? Are they going to still love me after this? Are they going to, you know? And that's another thing again, isn't it? It's that we shouldn't be worried about that. We should just be worried about how this is affecting us. Is this nourishing me? Is this benefiting me? And if it's not, then I either remove myself from the situation or I make my boundaries absolutely fucking transparent so Helen fucking Keller could understand them. You know? And that's what we're doing here. This is what this whole space is about. It's using all of this subject matter to go back into the same part again, to realise that we are already complete, we are already whole, we already have a part of us that is accessible constantly to be able to get us to the point where we can interface with the external world, whatever that may be, the police, the fucking state, whatever, you know, people on the street who we don't like, or in our workplace, or toxic relationships or dysfunctional relationships, whatever. The more we access that true part of ourselves, the more we shine that love in, the more we're constantly investing in this relationship with ourselves, then the stronger it becomes. And then we get to the stage is that everything becomes automated then, because this is our factory setting. All right. It's just the shadow part of ourselves getting in the way. It's throwing grit into our wonderful, sophisticated, fluid, lovely machine. And so it's going, and it's not working properly. And now we're cleaning it up. We're cleaning it all up. And sometimes you get dirty when you're cleaning. Yeah. Sometimes it gets a bit messy. Sometimes you get covered in shit. But we can handle that too. So what I would like to do today is I would like people to either try to listen, try to stick with the subject matter. We ain't got to, you know, like, this is not fucking school. There's no rules or regulations here. We're just literally, you know, showing up and being and standing up for what we believe, and we're speaking the words that come from our hearts and whatever that takes us wherever it takes us. However, I feel it's beneficial for people to maybe share what success are they having with boundaries based on the questioning the validity of whatever stimuli is coming at us. Yeah. Whatever the mind is telling us, whatever stories come up, is this nourishing me? Is this benefiting me? Or on the other hand, if someone's struggling with boundaries, putting boundaries in place, then come along and let's see if we can support a little bit more of a firm boundary setting for you, and then probably for everyone else as well, because that's how it works. So lastly, workshop's going to be released in the next week or so. So that's very exciting for me, especially because it's something I've wanted to do for a long, long time. However, never found the space or the way to be able to put all of this, put it down into something concise and very, very pragmatic, you know. And so I've done it. It's a formula, like a mad scientist. But yeah, so I'm very excited about that. So you'll hear about that first. When I said that the other day, I wasn't joking. Like, we're what we want to do is because we like I've got I don't know almost 50,000 followers. I've got so many followers on social media. The idea of those followers is really always just to push everyone back to our website where the real work's going on, where the real substance is and the meaning is. Yeah, because Instagram is, and so is Telegram. And so for me, it's just a case of really using that to get everyone over to where we call home, our website and our little MYGA group on Telegram and this space. And so anything that comes into the project, which we believe has got value, workshops or anything else that we're doing, we're going to put that out to you guys first because that's what it's about. Because you lot get it, I think. I think you get it, do you not get it? Please tell me someone gets it. Oh, no. The other thing as well, I have to mention it because I get told off by the team if I don't, is look, we are a donations-based organisation, yeah? Currently, the way things are working, the donation model is not really working at the moment. Yeah, I've got to say that it's not really working. But I feel that maybe that is because we're not pushing it enough. We're not reminding people enough. If you come to this space and you feel value in this space, or you watch the YouTube channel recalls and you're watching this now and you're getting value from what we're talking about and you're inspired and ignited and you have the function and the facility in a monetary form to be able to support us carrying on this important work, then we would be completely and utterly appreciative and forever grateful for you doing that. Because as it stands, it is becoming increasingly more difficult for us to continue what we're doing because, the value what we give in the world, for some reason, the world doesn't see the value, is the poetic, fucking profound puzzle I find myself in. But that's cool, I get it, and that's all right. It's not for me. It's like it's not a case of forcing anyone, but it's just I think it's like anything. It's just reminding people. Yeah, it's just reminding. Like if you come to this space and you are getting value from it, then and you have the function, the facility, then please support us. That's it. You know. The other thing is the Hearing Heart is on Thursday nights this week again from 6 p.m. on a UK time zone and 7 p.m. Central European. If you haven't been to the Hearing Heart, it's just wow. It's a space, a special space. Like really, I mean, this is a special space, but the Hearing Heart is even more sacred in relation to how it supports someone really, really going deeper into some of that stuff that is holding them back, which is what we're doing here as well, right? But we're doing it in a little bit more of a different way. It's a little bit more entertainment. I hope it is anyway. And also you can catch up with all of our MYGA spaces on YouTube now. So we're actually looking into putting that onto Spotify as well soon, because YouTube for me, it's like I don't like YouTube. Don't know what it is, but I do not like YouTube. But we will keep a presence there for people who are happy to use YouTube. But maybe just having the audio file on Spotify where people can drive along and listen to my crazy rantings might be an option as well. So yeah, check it out. And I think that's it from me. So I will welcome some people up onto the stage if that's all right. First with Jenny German. What's going on?
Hiya, you all right?
I am, yeah. What are you doing up here? Does,
I do join
does,
regularly.
does the old man know you're here?
Yeah, he's around somewhere. He's we can't sit at the computer this morning because we unplugged all
Yeah,
the
I
sound
saw the message a
in the
minute ago. Yeah.
computer for a rehearsal for Sarah's band yesterday. So
Ah,
so yeah, we've got to put all that back together, which is joy. And then take it all down again on Friday for their actual gig. So that's going to be fun. Um
but I'm sure it's going to be very special though,
of
and what a
having a
lovely thing to do with your
16-year-old
kids.
in a band. But yeah, she's doing great. So
Mm,
no, I wanted to talk because I've just finished a fast. So I finished 16, I did 69 hours, which is the longest I've done, um, from like Wednesday to Friday evening.
mm,
Excuse me. And yeah, it was really good. I've managed to do like 48 hours before in the past, I think. And I do try and do them a couple of times a year, but that was the longest one that I managed to do because I had some time off and I thought it'd be good chance to do it, opportunity to do it.
yeah.
And it it just resets everything, doesn't it? It really does reset. everything, like your dopamine systems and what you just suddenly realize how much everything's in your face all the time. It's particularly with food because I still had to go shopping.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
still cook. So that was really hard having to get through that
Mm,
while you're fasting
mm,
and then having to cook and how much you're bombarded with food. And it just makes you realize when you do a fast that I do it because I don't want to lose weight, but my family say to me, why are you doing that to yourself? It's so, people that aren't necessarily on the same wavelength.
mm,
Neil does it sometimes as well, so
mm.
he gets it. Um, but because I'm quite slim, my family go, no, 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 you can't do that. You're actually, you're going to do
You're gonna
yourself.
waste away.
Yeah, you're going to slip down grids, girl, is what my mum said.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and it's like, no, I don't do it for that reason. I do it because of all the other benefits. I said, have you ever looked into all the benefits of, of fasting?
Yeah.
And I try and explain it to them, but I still get this sort of, well, you really shouldn't. I think they see that as self-harm in some ways, whereas I see it as it does nourish me because when I come back to eating, however, I'll come to that in a minute. When I come back to eating, I start to realize how little sugar you need, how little
Mm,
fat you need. What you do, you need all the proteins and fats and all the rest of it. You do need to go back to eating properly, but you just everything just gets reset, doesn't it?
yeah.
And not just physically, it's more of like a spiritual reset as well. You sort of
I
really
I often liken it just to like having some days off to listen.
to yourself.
Yeah, it just feels like listening, you know. It
Yeah.
feels like what I'm doing is I'm just sort of spending some time listening to myself, and I feel that once we do that, again, we're like there's so much stuff and information there for us, isn't there? Like it's not just about food fasting. That's the thing. It's
Yeah,
just not about
fasting
food.
and meditation at the same time. So I still do my sort of hour-long meditations, which I did quite a lot of whilst I was fasting, and it was yeah, it's difficult to know whether it was the energy or whether it was my blood sugar crashing. It's just like I suppose it's probably all the same thing,
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly. Yeah.
If you're sort of purging energy-wise as well as physically.
Well, I mean, then you get into the whole subject matter of parasites as well, right? If we're not eating and they're not feeding, and then the parasites, that's another thing entirely. And I feel that we're able to sort of find our like what is our real energy again, as opposed to like what is that it's a synthetic. There was the guy MK from the Natural Health Channel on Telegram that I'd done a few podcasts with, and he had a wonderful terminology for it. He said that they're biosynthetic parasites.
Biosynthetic.
Yeah, and so like they're it's almost like they're like, and if we sort of loosely talk about like the nanotechnology, which seems to be in everything now, then these are sort of like a living like entity, and I think that
Mm,
probably goes to some way it's being used to interface with whatever that is out there,
yeah.
which controls a lot of our decision making. So by
Oh,
by
yeah.
fasting by fasting, I think we end up going a little bit more into sort of like a into our true self again, into a reset.
Yeah, and it just makes me realize that going back to the boundaries conversation, how I think it relates to boundaries is that sort of boundary in me where I'd made a choice to do it, regardless of what my family think and what society sort of say and all the sort of bombardment from supermarkets and TV and all the rest of it. I'd made that choice. So that was a really nice, healthy choice that I
Yeah.
made. However, last night, so I really tried my best to ease myself back into eating on Friday evening, and I did quite well. I had like eggs and garlic and apple cider vinegar to break my fast, and then that was it. And that was pretty good. I was
It's pretty
pretty
good. Yeah, it's
full.
better than what I do. I normally go
Yeah, because I
fucking
was like,
full
oh my God, I want
Monty.
to eat everything now. It was just
Yeah.
like, and then that was it. Then it broke the seal. And then I got a bit carried away last night and ended up drinking about 3 glasses of wine. And I've got a banging headache this morning. So that boundary in me, again, it goes back to conditioning, I suppose, doesn't it? We just end up
Yeah, I mean,
almost reverting back. It's almost like "Right, I've been really good now, so now I can be really
yeah,
bad." And
yeah, yeah. But I feel like the more we go back into that, and the more we sort of like it becomes something that is like cycling in us, like fasting and stuff. Is then that reverb back into the old self. It's like a little bit lesser, and it's a little bit stronger each time. So then I think it becomes a little bit easier, you know. And I feel that the more we invest in that, then I just feel like that stuff is falling away more and more and more. And
yeah,
and
and
we can't. We
weird.
what the thing is, the kicker is not to beat ourselves up about it, because then that
I
is that is
know.
the fucking worst thing we can do, because then
Yeah,
we're just fueling that the other stuff again.
yeah. And of course, I've got Easter eggs looking at me now as well, so that's going to be hard to. I don't want to eat loads of sugar now today as well because of it. But as soon as I started drinking, even that first glass of wine last night, I almost felt myself being dehydrated straight away. And I knew, and I said, I'm going to have to go and get a pint of water because I'm going to have to drink both because it felt hot. It actually felt quite horrible as I was drinking it. I was like, why? I mean, my body was going, what are you doing? Why? We've just had such a lovely, glorious detox, and now you're, hurting yourself again. But, like you say, you can't beat yourself up too much about it.
No, I mean we just have to, like what is a thing for me is one of the big issues about our perceived narratives is regret.
Mhm.
Like why, like that to me is like it's a real vehicle of self-harm.
Yeah.
I mean, we look like we talked about this self-harm for recently on the MYGA space, and like it to me, like a lot of the physical self-harm gets a lot more attention than the daily fucking internal negative dialogue of self-harm that we all put ourselves through. And I think
Yeah.
we're often doing that. We have like whatever we have, a cup of coffee, a fucking glass of wine, a bit of chocolate. We're going, oh, I shouldn't have had that. It's just like, what the fuck? Who said that? It's
Yeah.
over now anyway. It's done.
Yeah. No, and I'm really glad that I did the fast. But yeah, I think for me, I just got to stop listening so much to what other people say, and because I know it benefits me, like I say, doing the fast.
Yeah, I mean, but you
I
think
just
think
listen to your own, listen to yourself, listen to your
Yeah,
own,
and also we have to appreciate a lot of the time is like the level of conditioning that is happened in the world to make us so reliant on food. Like I can think of like a dozen fucking like sentences that my old man used to say to me, about food. Like it's like things like an empty sack don't stand up, son. Like if you were eating, like you got to eat, you got to eat.
Yeah. Oh, we were expected to finish everything on our plate. We
Yeah,
came from
exactly.
a
And
generation where
like
it's like, don't waste it. There are people starving in Africa or whatever it was back
yeah,
then.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
It was
And
that
it's
mindset.
actually it's a proven psyop now. It's actually proven that they created the narrative of breakfast being the most important part of the day,
Mm.
most important meal of the day, which is proven. It's a proven like well-funded clinical study that got a lot of traction based on media attention, used for that simple fucking that reason to get everyone eating. Because what happens is, if straight away if we wake up and we eat, then we've just nullified all of our like beautiful satellite in our body that is receiving all this information, and it can't
Mm.
now because it's like, oh, it's got food to deal with. you
Yeah.
know our stomach, which is where a lot of people, we say, like, our gut instinct, that
Yeah,
wonderful
yeah, absolutely.
ability to be able to decipher a lot of data, we can't anymore, because now it's full of fucking eggs and bacon and sausage and all that yummy stuff you know
Oh, you got me
so
thinking
for me,
about.
like, most days I don't eat now till, I would say, probably like 4 or 5 p.m.
Mm.
And I feel I can already feel like a difference in energy levels, a difference of attention span, of focus. A lot of it is coming back to what I thought it would have been originally.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
love that super clarity that you get when
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah, it's
fasting.
beautiful.
You
Yeah,
get you feel awful the first couple of days, but then by day three you get this. You're like, right. And I could have, you know, if I was working, I probably would have been really super efficient
yeah,
on
yeah.
that day because yeah, you just, like you say, you're not clogged up with
No,
stuff energetically, or you know, yeah. I mean, I don't. It'd be interesting. I don't really know what food does to your aura, or what you want to call it, your energy field. Yeah, I suppose it depends what you're eating, doesn't it?
Yeah, it depends on
And
what you're eating, how much, and with what intention, I think.
yeah, intention. Yeah,
Yeah,
intention.
I think a lot of the time it's the intention. I think we can eat what the fuck we want if we're like, if you're going to say to yourself, do you know what? Right, I'm going to really love this doner kebab.
Yeah.
You know, I'm to promise you now that doner kebab is not going to do you any harm if you're celebrating that and enjoying it. There's
Yeah.
something in the body that will just it will go with it. You know,
Yeah.
because like all of this stuff that we're told, and you look at like you can go to sort of different parts of the world and find like people in their hundreds who have been drinking their entire life, smoking their entire life, and like eating foods that are supposedly bad for us. It's a load of bollocks, isn't it? It's because it's all about how we do it. If we're going to go, like, I'm going to eat that Easter egg now, but I shouldn't be eating this, then that's going to it's going to
Yeah.
have a negative effect
Gonna
on
have a
us.
negative. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
go and enjoy your Easter egg.
Yeah. Although I've got a bit of a headache at the moment, so I might have to go and have a couple more glasses of water
Loads of salt. Have you got some
to
good
clear
salt
the
there?
wine. Wait, what's that? Salt, did you
Yeah, have you
say?
got a load of good salt?
We've got some Maldon salt. I don't think that's quite as good as the Celtic salt.
No, I mean Celtic salt. I would say is probably the best, but like, yeah,
Yeah,
I think any kind of like real sea salt would give you the
yeah.
same
Well,
effects.
I actually picked up on your tip from I think you were talking to Brian a couple of weeks ago
Oh yeah,
about it, and I did put the Maldon salt in there. But when I looked into the nutritional content of Maldon salt compared to Celtic salt, it hasn't got as
no,
many trace. So
no,
you need better quality salt,
yeah,
really. Yeah.
yeah.
It did help. It definitely helped with my electrolytes.
I'm sure it would. It's just I think there's something
Sodium, I think.
very special. Yeah, sodium. Yeah, it's very special about the Celtic salt. Really is.
Yeah, I'm going to get some, I think.
I have a 2 litre bottle of water and I just grab like handfuls of it and just drop it in the water.
Oh, see, some of it, sometimes it just makes me feel
Yeah, I
too.
know, but like for me, like whatever, if I'm a little bit low on energy, if I've got a little bit of a headache, if I'm a little bit like
Yeah.
fuzzy, it seems to get rid of all of it. You know?
Yeah. No, sometimes it's like drinking seawater and it's like, I can't do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. It is.
But yeah, so yeah, that's all I have to say really about that. I think it does relate to boundaries. I think, if you're gonna, you just make your own choices and um
Yeah, I agree.
also, coming out of my fast, it made me realize that it was okay to not revert back. I could have eased myself in more gently, going
But
back into
you can use that information for next time, can't you?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, like you say, I
that
think
is
it's
really that's what
an
boundaries are.
evolution.
Yeah, boundaries are they evolve, right? It's not something that we're just going to pick up and know all the time. We are learning. You know, a lot of our lives we've been indoctrinated to not have any boundaries, to just accept the external stimuli that's coming at us that we then turn into stories that we believe is our identity, but it's not.
Yeah.
So we're all sort of we're in a playground now, just trying to work out like what makes us tick, and this is okay, and I'm having fun here, and this is how I want it to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
And
wouldn't beat
and
yourself
is
up
this
about it.
nourishing me? Again, it's like you say, going back to that question all
It
the
is,
time,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think those two questions can really support us having like the best version of ourselves we can. You know,
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. We'll get there.
yeah, and
One day.
and some Easter eggs as well.
Oh, we probably won't, we'll just keep working on it. All right,
Thank
then,
you.
my lovely.
Cheers, Jen.
See you later.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Should we get that gentleman up row with a big beard? There he is.
Yes, yes.
Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
Very well. Yourself?
Um, yeah, boundaries. I,
Are you making notes, Ro?
I always make notes now.
Wow. I mean, that's like that's
I've
you're
made
the number one
notes.
student.
I've been making notes since I was in network marketing in the 90s. So it's just become a habit.
Yeah, I
And
remember you
now
saying,
when I'm on plants, I'm writing while
yeah.
uh, yeah. On a serious note, I was
Oh, don't go
thinking,
serious on me, Ro.
yeah, well, no, I can't. No, I really can't.
No, go on.
But
I'm pulling your leg. Go on.
yeah, no, about 40 years ago, I thought, yeah, it was my first, uh, hearing heart, if you like. I was listening to somebody. He was in the hot seat, so to speak,
Yeah.
and I was listening to him. But then I think perhaps just, and with my inexperience, I jumped in. And I don't know what I tell him, but I would say something, that I thought would be reassuring, and don't, he was very depressed. 2 weeks later, he committed suicide.
Oof.
Yeah, I know. This is the thing. So, to counterbalance that, I've saved a couple of people's lives. So, more recently. So, these boundaries, you say, that thought of this guy committed suicide 40 years ago was triggered by you saying, what was it? How is this nourishing me, cunt?
What?
If I had said that to him, he would have slit his throat down.
What did you say? What you?
No, you.
Oh, you quoted me.
I'm quoting you.
Yeah, what was it?
How is this nourishing me? So you got to be careful.
Oh, that's dark. That's so dark. Imagine that sitting across on the hearing. How is this nourishing me, you cunt?
So, yeah, no, that thought was triggered. So, obviously you wouldn't say that to somebody who was suicidal or, depressed, but that just came up. So,
I mean, we it's something we talk about a lot, like especially me and Swiss, when we were sort of like loosely creating the framework around the hearing heart. It was something like, I don't know if you know this, but the reason the hearing heart was actually came around. The idea was born from my younger brother attempting to commit suicide, and so that was the reason. Because I couldn't see that there was any support available for someone who's got no money. I wanted to create something that is open for everyone who's struggling. So that's where it came from. So like, it's a conversation me and Swiss have had for a long time. It's like, like we know that people who are turning up at some point, some people, I'm not saying everyone, but some people are incredibly desperate, and they're seeing it as sort of like a last lifeline to them, and it's really, really, it's very, very, you have to be so delicate with the way that's handled,
Yeah, absolutely. He does a fantastic job, by the way.
Brilliant.
He is like number one, I would say.
Yeah, he's very, very attuned, Swiss, into what the balance between, getting people to take responsibility and owning their stuff, but also making them feel like there's a support there for them as well, right? And the thing is that like there has to be that, and when this does come back to boundaries wonderfully, because once we're setting those boundaries and everyone knows them, it's like everyone feels a bit more comfortable because we know where we are, because if we're going to go, we can help you with that, we can take care of that, well, that's not right, is it? And unfortunately, that's what a lot of the time traditional therapy sessions do, and a lot of the traditional ways of doing things, or the classical ways, a lot of that is that I know the answers for you, and we're doing something, I feel, which is a bit more unique in the sense that we're always trying to turn that round and say, like, this is you can fix this yourself. Yeah, you don't need our help. We can guide you, we can hold your hand, and we can support you and make you feel that you're not alone. But ultimately, you're the one who's going to make the choices that are going to change your life.
Proper and proper and long-lasting healing is self-healing.
Absolutely.
I was thinking of that this morning because I was doing some healing on myself. I was actually going off the tangent. I was doing some tapping of not EFT tapping, but just tapping of the lymph nodes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because for years and years and years, well, I won't go into details.
I was going to say, put your clothes back on, Ro.
I've had some blocked nodes, and I never thought of tapping them, and I did the first time this morning, and I had an episode of actually
release
tears.
Yeah.
There was tears. There was a release.
Yeah.
And tingling, and it was wonderful. And I had my chakra music going,
Nice.
And, it was lovely.
Yeah.
So relating to you saying, how's this benefiting me? I had a friend call me the other day, and I could have said it to him, but you know, I mean, he wasn't. Woe is me. He's not on that level because I don't have many woe is me people around me. Funnily enough, maybe I've, you know, I'm too bouncy for them. But he was on about, oh, this latest, you know, what this could be, this psyop, you know, I'm here on psyop news, blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah, and it's like almost vomiting
It is, yeah.
psyop onto you. Get that psyop on that slime,
Yeah.
you know. But so what I said, I was like you in the moment. I was really eloquent. And it was really, and my wife was there, and I thought, where's the tape recorder? Because it doesn't come often that I'm really saying something structured and really well thought out. But what I was saying is that we're all on our individual paths.
Mm.
And we're all kind of heading in the same general direction back to true self. And I said, you know, that we can, have our own thoughts. And that's why I've got 14 channels of stuff that I write down. And it's like a mental vomit into my journal, and I make sense of things. And this is where it happens. And I couldn't say what's in there because I can't remember, you know, the next minute after I've said, you know, thought it, but I've written it down. So that to me is my boundary now, because my poor wife, she's gone out, but she used to put up with me talking of my progress, of oh yeah, I'm this and this and this and this. But then she said, you know, sometimes quite mildly and sometimes not, shut up. So I thought, oh yeah, I should write it down. And so I've now got a few journals of stuff, of vomit. Not that it's woe is me stuff, it's just stuff that is making, you know, my progression. So that progression is really for myself.
It's responsible, isn't it, Ro?
And not for anybody else's ears. And that's what my friend was doing. We're all on the same path to the same goal of self, you know, fulfillment and self, you know, self realization and the true self, back to soul, what have you. We make sense of the world ourselves, and self-healing is the true healing. And if we analyze ourselves, we can then get closer. I've lost the thread, but I think we can get closer to our true selves, ourselves, without having to burden anybody else. But I mean, at the same time, Hearing Heart is a fantastic space, because that space is that space. It's not, oh, have you got a minute? Can you know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So then, but then someone has to have the responsible intention to go there with that, into that arena, right? Because that arena is special for that, right? Yeah. So that's why, like, there's a difference here, because a lot of what comes out my mouth comes out spontaneously, and sometimes it's controversial and it's confronting. But if I'm in that arena, and sometimes I have facilitated the Hearing Heart, then I'm a different beast. I'm still me. I've still got my passion and my drive, and I want to, like, express myself in my authenticity. However, I'm very much aware that it's a very, very delicate and sophisticated platform.
Yeah.
And so I think anyone either is on whatever side of the table you're on within that kind of platform, you just adjust yourself, don't you? Whereas if we're sitting here now and we're having a conversation, and it's a balanced conversation, it feels like it's a nice, you know, to and fro. I feel like sometimes when we're in that space where we're sort of like going the mental vomit,
That's right.
The balance is gone. It's off key now. It's gone. And now either one person becomes like the victim and the other person's the perpetrator, and they're just having to fucking go, oh no, I've had enough. I've had enough.
Yeah.
So then our boundaries are absolutely of utmost importance to say, listen, mate, this is not nourishing me at all. Yeah. And we don't have to say it like that. You know, we don't have to say it like that. We can just say, I'm feeling quite uncomfortable with this at the moment.
Yeah,
I
want to help everyone. It's just in me because of just who I am, and I just like to help people, and I just want to, but it's wearing. It can tie it because I'm on my journey, my journey back to true self. I think there's a conflict there, and I think there's a balance. Helping people as much as I can, face to face, only if they want to be helped. I think you alluded to it earlier. They've got to be receptive and open to be helped. You
want someone to initiate, don't you, as well? Their own self discovery. Yeah. We don't want to. And I think that something like the Hearing Heart is perfect for that, because what it does is it offers the seat, it offers the sofa for people to sit down, and within that they can self-initiate inquiry.
Because I could vomit back on them all of my techniques and things that I've learned for myself, and but they're there and you're at a different part of the puddle. You're there and they're there, and how I can't. They don't relate to your so-called teaching or trying to heal them. But right, here's my third one, very quickly, because there's a couple of people still to come. The third boundary, the third point that I've got. Anyway, it's the boundary. Less. There's no bound. There is no boundary to us.
Yeah, unbounded.
Unbounded. Yeah, we are unbounded because all of our vibrations and thoughts go out to the furthest atom of the furthest, part of infinityness. So we've got a huge responsibility to think the right kind of thoughts.
Think responsibly, I like to say, Ro.
Think responsibly, yes, like positively, like not yes. When we're self-healing, we might go in and go into our past and dwell, but only like a feather that comes and goes. It hits you and go. The feather isn't permanent. It just glances off you. So that I see that as the negative, the dark, those parts of ourselves that we want to shine a light on, and really metamorphosize those dark parts into positive light. Because if that hadn't happened, this,
absolutely,
this, I wouldn't be here now.
Totally,
speak to you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be in Spain. I wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah. So if that hadn't happened, I might have been dead now.
Yeah. Of course. That's why I think that's why the thing is just accepting the whole, isn't it? Accepting that we are complete with whatever's gone on.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That was it, isn't it?
That's it.
Thank you, Ro.
That's all we have time for today.
Oh, we're going to use that clip on social media. That's gold dust. Ro, mate, brother, always a pleasure. Thank you so much, Absolutely. Mate.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, my friend.
Oi. Hello there.
Hello. Sorry, I'm currently shoveling shit out of the field. Who needs the gym?
That's what we're doing metaphorically here.
I'm literally doing it. I'm picking up all shit. And no one needs a gym. Who needs a gym? You can just go and pick up shit. Yeah, I think I have really, really, not badly. I'm definitely getting better with healthy boundaries, but I think the biggest thing for me is the healthy boundaries I set against myself. More than anything else, I think I've got to a level now, or I say that, but then I think that I've got to a level where I'm setting healthy boundaries with other people, but then it's this raging war I have in my head with the boundaries that I set with myself. Because I'm constantly, I've always been a people pleaser. So, like for example, I've got so much to say, and then a part of me is like, but it's that worthiness of whether I should say it or not, because I'm constantly thinking that, like, is what I've got to say what people want to hear?
Fuck them.
Is what I've got to say not justified, but like for example, I suddenly think, oh, should I come on again? Because I come on here quite a lot. So should I not say anything? Because are people going to get pissed off with me? Because, oh, gosh, she's coming on again. Do you know what I mean? It's but that's the attack against myself, because it's that worthiness. And then I sort of think, no, you've got something to say. Just say it. Just, speak your truth. And I like to think that what I have to say is worth something.
Absolutely.
And yeah, but there's this constant. I've just been doing my self inventory with my step work, and everything that's come up is that I've seemed to appear to have hopefully outed all my resentments against people, but there's this constant resentment with myself, and this constant being unkind to myself, even not being unaware of it, if that makes sense. But when you do the inventory, it's like shit. And it's like, and then like my sponsor was like, right, you've got to go back. We had to go back and read the letters that I've written to myself, making amends with myself, apologizing to myself. And it was really interesting the other night, because it sort of stopped me in my tracks. And she was like, imagine if you were saying that to your friend. Yeah,
exactly.
And then you didn't, and then you carried on treating them like that. And then you went back to them and said sorry again. Well, every time you say sorry, you're kind of like, it's going to wear thin, isn't it? It's not going to work. So why are you allowing it to yourself? And I mean, how many of us do that?
All the time.
How many of us like apologize to ourselves? Well, we won't do that again. But then we fucking do, because it's us. And we don't matter in our brains.
Yeah, but it's a lot of, you think of what we're trying to undo. What we're trying to transform, what we're trying to transmute is some really, really like deep stuff that we've been practicing and dancing to since we were fucking babies. So it's not going to happen overnight. It's just that I think by just being very sort of diligent in the observation of the workings of our mind then I think we get closer and closer to sort of like not listening to that then, that part, like again, those two questions I think have got so much value to them. Like, is this nourishing me? Is this benefiting me? Like when the voice is going. And then I think just having sort of tools as well. Like I genuinely believe if you're stuck in your mind and stuff's bothering you, go for a walk. You go for a nice long walk, and when you come back, like I promise you'll feel different. You might not feel like excellent, but there'll be a little bit of something would have started to move. Yeah, and it might take a couple more days to clear, but something would have started to move.
I think movement, full stop, isn't it? I think it's so stagnant. Even myself, I come out here. I'm doing this morning, and that's great. And especially when it's a beautiful day like today, it's great and it's moving around. I don't know if you ever have listened to Paul Check at all?
No.
You ever heard of him? Yeah, listen. No, he's definitely worth a listen. He's a very interesting guy. But he was saying, like, he's 62 and he's moving. He goes out and he's got the Czech Institute. It's based in America, but he goes outside and he'll move rocks and stuff. And he's fitter than the average person that's going to the gym, because he's moving like stuff outside and moving rocks. It's not like your gym bunny who's constantly picking up weights and actually isn't fit at all.
Yeah. There's quite a lot of proof that shows that people who work in construction are a lot fucking stronger than your average gym man.
Well, I know when I used to ride the racehorses, and you get ripped up a blooming racetrack by getting on 6 lots of horses in a day. You soon start ripping up like. And I think that's probably the strongest I've ever been is when I was exercising, because it's a force that's nothing like, it's not a weight. I'm going off on a tangent here, but yeah. But I think healthy boundaries for myself and putting people pleasing and putting people up on a pedestal. I've done that a lot. Like, I think I look at people and think they're so much more relevant, and this will go back to, like, for me it goes back to childhood, because when I was younger I was always told that I was stupid or thick, and so it imprints in your brain, doesn't it? And because, like, I'm dyslexic, and all these things like imprint on your brain that you just don't think that you are good enough at doing it. And it's the same with like the people pleasing or putting people up on a pedestal. And I'm definitely working on those boundaries for setting it so that, like, actually you are worthy. But it's almost like cringe when you say it to yourself. I don't know if you ever feel that.
It's another psyop, isn't it?
Yeah. It's kind of like, when you sort of like, I've been doing some mirror work, and I find that really, really difficult. I've been like telling myself I love myself in the mirror, and it's like weirdo, strange, like, it's just like, and then it's just like, but then at other times I can do it, and I really feel like that love coming out of my heart.
Yeah. But you think about that, like that remapping of the brain. Yeah. If all that stuff has sort of like created this circuitry that is like almost predetermined now or predispositioned because of this conditioning to like continue this patterned, recycled way of thinking, and we're going in and we're going, whoa, stop that, and we're trying to find another. No, I'm going to go down this road now, and this road is not self-deprecating. It's not trying to put myself down. It's coming off the side and asking once again, like, through the validity of the mind. Yeah, is this way of thinking nourishing me? Is it benefiting me? The answer's always going to be no. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then straight away you're going, okay, well, who's saying that then? Because that ain't me. And the more we do that, that becomes less and less poignant in our lives. It doesn't have so much effect on us because we're not interested so much anymore, because we're too busy doing stuff over there, which is nourishing us, which is benefiting us. And I think the closer we get to that as well, like I mean, I am myself my own masterpiece, as you all are, yeah, as you're all your own masterpiece. But like, I feel like I'm accessing stuff now, and I have been in the last few years, is that I'm really getting closer to like the real, like the real masterpiece now, like the real fucking good stuff. And what that does is, like, if I can say like that is like the real voice of me is coming out now, and it's really, really like authentic to me. And then I think that what happens then is that I couldn't give a fuck about the audience. You know, like if I sit down and I write something, yeah, I'm not sitting there going, I wonder if people are going to like this. I used to. When I used to write, I want to go, how's this going to be received? You know, like if I write this, I wonder if they're going to like that. And probably in the last 4 or 5 years, I just couldn't give a fuck about the audience now. And the funny thing is the more you don't give a fuck about the audience, the more the audience love it, because that is your divine and unique expression that no one else can copy.
I feel like, though, I've reversed, because I feel like, I feel like for me, since I've stopped drinking, like when I used to drink, I couldn't give a shit about what anybody thought or said about it.
That's why drink's so wonderful.
Yeah, but it's like now I'm constantly like, well, no, I wouldn't say I'm constantly looking. Like, I don't care. Like, for example, I don't care what I wear anymore. I don't care what I look like. That doesn't bother me. You know, I'm growing old gracefully. The only thing I'm not prepared is my hair to go grey yet, but that's just me.
Oh, there's some fucking wisdom right there, girl.
I'm just not ready for it yet. But you know, like wrinkles on my face and everything. And there used to be a time when I'd look at I can remember looking at myself when I was 30, thinking I looked old. Yeah. And then I look at myself now and like, yeah, you know, and sometimes I wish I'd had the ability when I was younger to be like, damn, you looked good. Do you know what I mean? I wish I'd have had that when I was that age, because I was looking.
I feel. Go on, carry on. I won't interrupt you.
I was just going to say, I was looking back at photos the other day of like when I was in the States and traveling around Australia and stuff. And I was like, and the impression I had of myself then was like, you know, that whole like, oh, I didn't look as good as that girl over there, or, you know, I'm on the beach, or I better cover up. And then I think of myself and I look at myself now and I'm like, bloody hell, why didn't you think about then? Because you looked awesome then.
Yeah, but I mean, for me personally, right, what I've discovered is that the more that we do the inner work, the more that we are become loving to ourselves entirely, then the other stuff shines out, right? Then we never get old, right? Like you can't get old. Right? It's impossible to get old when you're acting out of that place. You know, you are 90 years of age, and yet you've still got this sparkle of a child in your eyes. And yeah, your body might not be able to keep up with that, but who gives a fuck about the body? It's a temporary fucking thing anyway. You know.
But don't you think that that's as well? Don't you think a lot of it is the reason why our bodies can't keep up with it is because that is another program. It's a program that we get to a certain age and we believe that like, oh, this is this and this is that, and then give it to ourselves. Like
totally. I do think if you reach 200, you might not be able to run the 100 meters as you used to be able to.
I don't know. I remember seeing a guy in his 90s still running.
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah,
I know. Yeah. I mean, like again, we have to be incredibly observant about the limitations that we're listening to in the mind. Yeah, you have to. Yeah. And especially what we know about the body now, and we know about fasting and stuff like that. Like I think one of the reasons, and I'm only going to lean on it very, very gently, but like if you take sort of like the Bible, for example, and all of the stories about how people were hundreds of years old, a lot of that was to do with fasting, right? There's a lot of that old information was saying that we don't need anywhere near the amount of food as we used to. Yeah.
Didn't they find a man that was like some Buddhist, and they pulled him out of a temple? And he was like way over 150 years old. Or something like that.
I'm certain we are able to access stuff now that is going to make us, as long as we can avoid certain coercion of medicalization, then I'd imagine we'll be able to live long and fit lives well into what we would have considered old age maybe a few decades ago. And it's already happening now. Like I look at my granddad, my dad's dad, who he died at 79, 80 years of age roughly. And when he was 70, like he was old, you know. He wasn't like, it's not that he was unfit and he couldn't walk, but you could see that he was old. Now I look at my dad, who's 66, 67. He's still fucking sparring young men down the gym, and he's getting the better of them.
But that's why, isn't it? He's not allowing age.
No, he won't allow it. No, he won't allow it. He refuses. And I think there's something in that, you know. And that's not to say that we all should start boxing now, you know. Like, that's it, right? We're all going to start. That's it. We're going to be the MYGA boxing group. But it's like whatever makes you, it gives you energy, or makes you feel like you can, you know, I really enjoy walking, then walk every fucking day. I really enjoy riding my bike. Well, go and ride your fucking bike. I enjoy swimming, jump in a pool.
But it's like when people stop work and they retire, if they've got nothing else, like their job was their life, when they retire, they just crumble and fall because they've got nothing.
That word is a death sentence.
Yeah.
It's a fucking death sentence, mate. It's just like you are scrap heap now because you're no longer needed. We're going to chuck you on the scrap heap. You're going to watch Countdown and fucking The Chase for the next 20 years and just fucking die.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's interesting. I've got a lady, one of my clients, and she's 80 and my dad's 83 this year. And they are like worlds apart. Yeah. Complete worlds apart. My dad is still going up ladders, fixing roofs.
Yeah, I remember you saying, unbelievable.
Yeah. And then you've got this 80-year-old that is at home, housebound, can't move. And there's nothing wrong with that as such, other than old age.
Yeah, psychological, a lot of it, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
They identify with that old story, don't they? You know?
Yeah, and she keeps saying to herself, well, I am 80. Well, I am.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, well, yeah. So, but you know, you've got an 83-year-old over there who's going up fixing the roof.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're doing more than like what I could do, kind of thing. Yeah. Not in physical aspects, but I couldn't fix a roof. But you know, but yeah, it's that mind plague again, isn't it? Is it Greg Braden? He reckons he's going to live till he's 200.
Yeah, I mean, some of the things that I read now, like I feel like what people are doing and accessing is like there's 60-year-old people who are showing the signs, like the physical signs of people in their 30s. So I think like it's going to become more and more accessible. I think parasites are a lot to do with the breakdown of our body and our tissue and our fiber as well. And I think the more we all look into parasite cleanses and stuff as well, I think that really does contribute to us having fitter and healthier lifestyles, as well as all the other stuff. You know, like again, the thinking. You know, if we're going to limit ourselves and say, "Oh, do you know what? I'm in my 40s now. I'm going to have to start slowing down." Like, fuck that, mate. No chance.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm not going to slow down until someone puts me in a box.
Yeah, but I think it's like I'm battling with at the moment. The big thing I'm battling with is the whole perimenopausal. Like I'll say something to somebody and they'll be like, "Oh, well, you're at that age, you're perimenopausal now." And it's like, it's not that I don't disbelieve in those things, but it's like I'm not going to label myself with that, because it like appears that everything now is like people are getting diagnosed with perimenopausal in their 30s, and it's like it just keeps this is going backwards. And I'm just like, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I'm saying like, is it not just contributing to the how out of balance our bodies are? Because I'm pretty sure that 150 years ago women weren't having the problems they have now with so-called hormonal stuff.
So many factors involved, isn't it?
Well, is it not? Look at the pill. Look at the HRT. Look at all of these things that everybody's taking. It's fucking up your hormones.
Yeah. I just saw on the chat that Rose said he's going to live to 180. I thought he was 180 anyway.
Anyway, Dan,
his fucking beard's got to be 150 years old.
I'll let Tracy come up anyway. Good to chat.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's a very valuable, because like the more like the boundaries that we set within our own internal dialogue is how our boundaries physicalize and materialize into the external world. So it's important. So like start there, isn't it? You know, is it nourishing me? Is it benefiting me? I'm not gonna keep thinking like this. I refuse. But
100%.
Thank you, darling. Always.
No, thank you.
See you later. Get back to shoveling your shit now.
I will. I'm on my way.
Tracy, have you got any shit to shovel? Come on in.
I've got plenty. I've been
look at that little doggy up there. It looks like a little penguin with big ears.
She's a really great dog, actually. She's
lovely.
She will see your shadow first. She's a good protector.
Oh,
she's a Chihuahua, and she's one of the most ancient dogs, apparently, breeds.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like the Aztecs had them, and used to bury him just to take him to the other side. And yeah, she'll see people's shadows first. So yeah. But wow, yeah, I wasn't actually going to come up and speak, but like I just want to say, like this week it's been really confronting. Your talk, it's like you was just specifically speaking to me, and you was just like relaying all the like kind of situations I'm under where like these boundaries like are really being seriously crossed, and there have been. And there's so many different kind of boundaries. There's like kind of really fundamental boundaries, like really big ones. And then there's like kind of all different kinds of variety of boundaries where they're like kind of really significant to my unique expression. And it's like kind of, I've not been able to deal with it kind of through the mind, like just that's not, and it's really hard to speak my truth, even if I'm speaking my truth and my heart's truth. The boundary is really kind of severed now and crossed so much where my heart speech is really as a weapon held against me now. So,
but you're doing it now.
Oh yeah, because like it's kind of, well, I don't know. It's like kind of, you're not against me, or like we're on a similar path, or like kind of we get it, you know. It's all those things, but like kind of I'm noticing like kind of the boundaries that I'm having to set in is just kind of it's just having to like kind of end relationships and end situations, and no matter how much I like kind of hold on and think, well, my hope is like it's going to be okay, it's not going to be okay, because this is like a really global situation of where like there's these dynamics of lesser than and more than, and it's ridiculous. And my process, like kind of recently, has been like kind of having to like view my universal being on, and that's where I'm having to deal with all the boundaries, because like this is really when our boundaries like are crossed, it's like kind of, for me, there's like kind of vortexes like seeking out my solar atom self, you know, and it's really, these boundaries are like set to annihilate me in such a way where I have to be so brave and be so powerful in a way where it's so authentic to me and my shine and my heart soul essence, this part of me that really needs to shine now. Otherwise, it's just, I'm not going to be able to create the kind of life I want, because these boundaries I'm having to set are really with close people in my life, you know. So it's like kind of, it's been going on for so long that I've had to just go, this is enough. And the really saddest part is just having to let go of really fundamental relationships. But it's like it's so, if I stay in these kind of situations, I'm really hurting myself, to be fair, because I'm allowing people to speak to me in such a way that is really, really annihilating my character. It's really it's like having two narcissistic people against me and my empathy. And it's no matter what I speak, it's annihilated to such a way where it's ridiculous. So the boundaries, what I'm having to set are really, really serious ones. And it's like this has to be set, and this has to be made in such a way where it's from my heart soul essence, it's from my light. And like kind of this morning, like kind of, I was just pacing it. You see, when my boundaries are like kind of messed with, my first area where it shows is my home. Like that's my place and an extension of myself. So my home at the moment is really wrecked. You know, it's just it's really hard to put my love into my home when there's so many boundaries that has been crossed. You know, and it's serious.
Have you maybe, as a suggestion, could you formalize those boundaries and write them down, see what they look like in written form? And maybe then try to condense them, so it's just like, what is the one boundary, instead to try to like set like lots of different boundaries. If there's just one boundary,
that is really simple. Is the boundary is my love. Really, that is the boundary. Whether it's like my self-love is like kind of, that's my medicine. And so when I'm in self-love, these dynamics with other people kind of feel that and kind of come in and try and knock me off that. So there's all that kind of dynamic, but it definitely is what my love is, how powerful that is, how that can co-create into a reality, what it's here for. And like kind of, I know that inside myself, like, even though it's not like, it's hard to vocalize that or sing that sometimes, but it's like, it's really true, you know, like I know why I'm here. I know all these things about myself, and like kind of, it's really hard to just extract myself from a really old world that is clinging to its own death, because when it does that, it's really, I'm finding myself really confronting so many woundings of my childhood. Just it's like a page, and it stems really back, and it's right here, right now, in these dynamics. So, and it's really, I'm I'm I've not I'm 51 and like kind of I'm not done yet. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I'd fucking hope not.
Well, you know what I mean? There's so much to like kind of create from
Oh yeah.
ourselves, from our spark, from our light.
Call it 50, you're still in your adolescence.
You know, yeah. No, seriously, I am like kind of my maturity is like kind of, I'm sure I'm 27.
Yeah,
Do you know
sure
what
you
I
are.
mean?
I mean, it's all a load of bollocks anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like kind of it's just been so your conversation, like kind of your word, what how you were speaking, it was just such a reflection of my life right now that I just had to come on and just like go, oh, that's just a mirror to me. Everything you're saying
Mm.
is just like the road, and there's this road where it's so organic and it's so true to me. And then there's this like this old world within these dynamics with people, and it just keeps pushing me over here, and I don't need to be there.
Mm.
And it's really hard to just center myself in a way where it's when I'm just like kind of I'm okay to just be at that frequency 24/7 because I feel that's my natural being.
Mm.
I feel that this world is kind of devised in a way to show you so many limitations and so many contrasts that like kind of really inevitably you just come back home to yourself, and like kind of all I need to do and all I need in my life is just to be left alone so I can manifest like my reality from that place. But the world
Sounds
as
like a nice boundary, that.
yeah, and I'm really protective over that because that's inevitably what it is.
Mm.
You know, that's how my love will create.
Mm. Your dog looks like it's nodding. It's going, yep, yep, yep. I agree with that.
She's she's
Absolutely.
she's not very well actually.
All right, sorry.
She's
That's what I do. I always say things like
she's
that.
really old. So like this, she's like today. She's been on a real like kind of like walkabout
Oh,
this morning. So I've been with her, but like kind of we're just at that phase. She's 11 now, so
mm,
like
mm.
she's
Oh,
had this
bless her.
really great life where she's been everywhere. You know, she's been this amazing rock climber. She's the first one up, no matter what. So
Mm.
it's like she's really winding down, and we feel it's a heart. So like kind of
Oh yeah.
she's
Oh.
gonna go to the vets, tomorrow and stuff. But yeah,
But yeah, look, Trace, I'm glad that you're confronted enough to come and talk because that's the idea of it, right? I'm very aware that like my sort of communicative ability is sometimes very confronting for people, but I kind of like that because I feel that what that does is it really invites self-inquiry for people. And if anyone is uncomfortable with what I'm saying, then the first place to have a look into is why. It's not me. It's not what I'm saying. It's the way it's being received, and there's wonderful, rich information in that we can all use, and that's like for everyone as well. People say things, I think, "Fucking hell, what's he saying?" I'm like, "Oh, actually, hold on a minute, might be something in that." And
yeah,
I just feel that when it comes to boundaries, it's such a deep, deep thing in us because it is almost like the material form. When we set boundaries, it becomes the material form of the sort of benchmark of our own self-worth. Because we will put our boundaries they will be the representation of how we feel about ourselves 9 times out of 10. So if we're saying like, do you know what, this is me, everyone leave me the fuck alone. Yeah, to me that's a good benchmark for how I feel about myself. If I'm going to say, no, I'm not listening to it, I don't want to hear that. Sorry, that's not for me. Then to me, what that does is make me feel like, oh, just me looking after me again. So I would just suggest that everyone takes that and sees how they can work that into their own lives this week and do so in the most, in the most you way that you can, in the most gentle way, in the most compassionate way, not only for yourself but also for other people's feelings as well. Until it gets to the point where you feel like your boundaries are being trampled on, then it's time to roar. Yeah, and don't feel ever guilty about letting the fucking the lion out, because sometimes people need the lion.
That's the guilt, because they have been trampled on, and so I've had to like kind of stand and like kind of I just spill truth from heart, and it's like that's I feel guilty for that, and like kind of, and the boundaries like kind of that's been like kind of really presented, and really they've been like in a way, like you say, it's like getting really back to the center of myself. It's like things have been really confiscated, blackmail and everything to just show me that's not maybe that's how, where I'm not loving myself, or I never loved myself in the past, but
perhaps
these dynamics are not really serving me for who I am. So it's been really difficult, but the kind of boundaries that have been really shaking are just making me like kind of strip away woundings and things, and just getting right back to the core of myself. So in a way, even though it's been really rocky, it's been like kind of serving in a way until it's just gone enough, you know. And there's been so many times I've said that, but
I mean, look, the more you feel it, sometimes if we're acting out of a cognitive understanding or direction, then sometimes it's not as powerful as if we feel it. If we've embodied it, if we've embodied these boundaries, then I don't think you even need to speak to. I don't think they need to be spoken. I think they're just there, and everyone feels them. You know. But look, I need to set a boundary now, because I've got to go at 1 o'clock. This has gone on a little bit longer than I wanted to, and I need to do another call at 1 o'clock. So, thank you for coming up as always.
oh, thank you.
And I would love. Oh, hold on 1 sec. Go away. Someone's actually trying to call me now. I would really, really appreciate, not just yourself but everyone else, to be able to go away and to see where in our lives we feel that we're lacking boundaries this week, you know, and where we can perhaps see if we can initiate some boundaries, you know. And there's like, we don't have to force it. Just see what comes to you, you know. Same for you, Trace. Same for everyone else. So thank you, everyone. As always, it's really nice to get into some of these rich subject matter, as always. And one thing I'm just going to say quickly, right, is just to set a little boundary for our MYGA Telegram group, right? It's difficult for me, right? I don't want to be the guy to say, listen, you can't do this and you can't do that. But I'm very aware that if the group has got no boundaries, then it turns just into a free fall of people just sharing whatever. And like, how quickly can we share these days? You know, how easy is it to press 2 buttons and we forwarded something, maybe without any real intention, maybe without any sort of personable feeling as to why we're sharing that, and it's just already sent and it's just already gone out into the ether. And then what that tends to me is it makes everything a little bit clunky and a little bit noisy and a little bit like saturated with stuff that isn't necessarily part of our collective mission. All right. So what I would say is that, like, there's nothing wrong with sharing stuff in our group. Yeah, that is encouraged, but just make sure that it comes from a space that has got a personal part of expression to it. It's not just a forward and a post. And also, I'll go further than that, is if you're having conversations with someone and you're having a really nice, rich conversation, I would say after like 1 or 2 replies, that conversation then has to go into a private space. And then maybe that conversation actually has the opportunity to develop and to blossom into something even more powerful than just being on a MYGA chat group when all of a sudden now it's a chat room, you know? So, because I do feel like if all of a sudden we're going, do you know what? Right, fucking hell, I had this eczema, yeah? And what I've done is I got this piss, my morning piss, and I rubbed it on the eczema and it disappeared. Everyone's going to go, wow, really? What lovely personal expression, personal experience that you've had that has got a lot of value to it, yeah? Whether that's piss or whatever else it is, yeah? However, that can really benefit people. But however, if we're just sending and sharing information about the latest rabbit hole that we've gone down, and it's going to tell us someone's story of someone's opinion of a narrative that happened fucking 6,000 years ago, and now for some reason we think that is got some kind of value in this space, then I'm sorry, it hasn't. Yeah, we're not that space, right? That's not what this is about. It's not about sharing our most latest rabbit hole that we feel that we can get closer to some of the truth out there. The truth ain't out there. It never was. It's in here. All right? And so the more we invest in this space inside ourselves, the more the truth just becomes apparent. It just becomes absolute. Can't even turn it off anymore. So you got your own work. Enjoy setting your boundaries this week. I'd love to hear about them next week. Even in threat, I mean, that's a lovely thing for the MYGA space, right? Is that like in our Telegram group, why not say that, you know what? My fucking old man, he just come in and he just said this to me and dumped his fucking shit on me from his work day and I didn't appreciate it. So I told him, oi, sunshine, pack it in. All right? I want to hear that. And he went, all right, yeah, you're right. Sorry about that. And everyone got on with their fucking day and everyone knew who everyone was. Let's hear about that this week in MYGA, yeah? Let's find out how people are putting boundaries in place that are for the absolute betterment of them, to nourish themselves. Put those boundaries in place this week. Let's hear about it, because I'm sure it's going to inspire everyone else to do it. I'll set some fucking boundaries for you this week, all right? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you about how many times I kick my kids up the arse and tell them not to interrupt me this week. All right.
Cheryl's waiting. Cheryl's waiting.
Yeah, I know. Cheryl, Ian's already sent her a message. We've run out of time, but thank you very much, Ro. All right, love you all, people. I'll see you next week.